All right, what's up, y'all? It's snowing. We're out here in Utah County as we do. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Today's the 17th of February 2026. This video is on our main side, the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, where we allow the human body to work, okay? This video is just going to be what it is as long as it is, okay? An explanation, just date marked as we do. The human body is about its skeletal system, okay? It's the same thing I've been saying since the founding of In the Image Clothing Company, about 16 months ago, a little over 16 months ago, give or take, the 23rd of September 2024. But I say it so clear and so bold, there's only one way the human body could ever work, and there's no possible opinion to that, by the way. I discuss the anatomy of the human body in such depth, and we just do under In the Image Clothing Company, me being the founder in this for life to lead it. This is one of our Fords, okay, the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. I just want to make it very clear, the human body is about the skeletal system. And I'll just talk about this, I'll get right into it. It's snowing, it's a little bit different than how we normally structure videos, but I just want to make sure I say what I feel I need to say in this video for this date, right? Just to show congruency, to show what we're really doing here and the truth of it. As I say, don't believe me. Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Don't believe our team, as In the Image Clothing Company's team builds, even our poodles, okay, on In the Image Clothing Company poodles, another one of our Fords to In the Image Clothing Company. What I mean is truth, and the human body is designed by God, designed in the image of Jesus Christ. We're designed by God, and so we're a clothing company for anything that clothes the human being, anything placed onto the human body, the way God clothes the fields with grass, okay? Anything placed onto something else is clothing it with something. The human body was designed by God to work, it just would, unless it couldn't. If there's any reason the body couldn't, then okay, and that could be anything. But if we place something physically onto the body that doesn't work the way the body does, the body's damaged. Chronic patterning gets built up. Bone spurs and scar tissue get built up. We've got joints of body parts meshing with joints of materials. If our clothing's fitting us correct, and that comes in every way we could place anything onto the body, even glasses, jewelry, hats, and socks and pants and shoes and shirts and undergarments, anything possible placed onto the body. Okay, the same thing within the Image Clothing Company poodles when it comes to dogs, letting dogs stay natural, as we say, the same thing as allowing the body to work here on In the Image Clothing Company's main side for human beings. Collars, leashes, harnesses, and these things are for dogs, okay? Well, meaning, yes, they are, but clothing, essentially, for dogs, something clothing the dog. So the point is, we've been discussing, as we have since the founding of In the Image Clothing Company, the human body is about the skeletal system, and it is. The skeletal system is always a prerequisite, if you will, something that always has to come first before the muscles. Okay, the skeletal system is the bones of the body. Bones are only shaped the way they are, they're only the length that they are, and they're all connecting to each other through ligaments, okay? Bones can only track in line, and as we say and show and discuss very, very thoroughly under In the Image Clothing Company, through the gift of video, as I call it, as the founder, we will always do so much and always have done so much under the gift of video. It's permanent documentations. I say something once and it's done, as is this video here. As I'm saying, this is just kind of a quicker video. I'm in the middle of kind of running errands, if you will, today. I got to get back to somewhere relatively soon, so I'm kind of rushing through this just to get the information that I feel I need to say as of today's date, just for the documentation. As I say, it's our insurance policy. It shows congruency. It just is what it is. And the human body is something we could never take credit for as human beings. We didn't design our own bodies. I didn't design mine. You didn't design yours. So the only end is to allow God's design of the human being to work. Same with allowing God's design of the dogs to work, okay? Really letting God's design of the dogs stay natural is our phrasing of that on In the Image Clothing Company poodles. So, yeah, we specialize in purebred standard poodles, but we give information that applies to all dogs and even a lot of animals across the earth as well, okay? Living in this modern man-made world placed onto God's natural earth, God designed the human being to work, okay? So these bones, tracking in line only, because the ends of them where they connect to each other are only the shape that they are, and they can't do anything else without binding up and wearing the bones out. The bones have a thin layer of cushioning between them called cartilage. But other than that, you've just got basically an immovable stick connecting to an immovable stick. It only moves where they connect at the end points of the bones. That's a very, very specific shape to mesh together well. And if you tweak it just slightly, it just doesn't mesh together well, okay? And then it can get worn out and damaged. That's how the human body is. It's about its skeletal system. It's about the bones of the body. The skeletal system of the body can just exist by itself. All the bones together, just being connected to each other through ligaments. The whole thing is just one solid piece, but if there was nothing to support it, it would all stay together, but it would just be flopped down onto the ground with Earth's gravity. Okay, we discuss gravity a lot because the human body really is just about mechanics, okay? The human body is just mechanics is a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here. By the way, Dante, my standard poodle, is in the car over here, okay? He's normally in the videos around this time, okay, under In The Image Clothing Company. But gravity has a vertical pull, okay? Straight vertical, perpendicular, or a 90-degree angle with the horizontal surface of the Earth. So this is a right angle or a 90-degree perpendicular angle that will never change, okay? The human being has opposing bends. The ankles bend backward, the knees bend forward, the hips bend backward, the low back bends forward, the mid back bends backward, and then the upper back, which is really just the neck, bends forward. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Even mathematical opposing bends to stay vertical on Earth's vertical gravity pull that will never change. So the body's skeletal system is the first thing that has to be there before muscles can ever be there to support it. There has to be something to support before you have muscles to support the thing. The frame has to be there first. It's like a house. You build a house, and before all the wiring and the lighting and the drywall and the appliances and the carpet and the roof and the shingles and everything else can go onto the house, what all those things are really going onto is the framing of the house. That has to be there first. Like the human body's skeletal system, it has to be there first. And all these other things are determined by the shape and design of the frame. The skeletal frame is only what it is. The bones are only the shape they are and only the length that they are. The muscles come secondary. Like when building a house, well, here's a building behind me. I didn't plan on having this building be here, really. I didn't think through as I was putting the camera here, but I can show this. This building would have had a frame built first for all the other stuff on top to attach to, okay? And the frame determines what all the other things do. The skeletal frame of the human being, as I was saying, I didn't continue further with it. I started to say something else in this, but as we discuss, is what I was saying, because we do often, there's just a neutral. Neutral, natural, and normal are synonyms within the human being. There's a neutral to internal or external rotation in the forearms from the fingertips to the elbow. Two bones, the radius and ulna, rotating. We lock the hand out from the shoulder at the elbow by straightening the elbow. The hand becomes the shoulder. It's been the shoulder the entire time, but they'll do the exact same thing. From the fingertip up to the shoulder, when locked out of the elbow between the two. From the foot to the knee, there's two bones in the lower leg. Just like the forearm, they rotate internal or external from the neutral position between the two, which is the pinky toe straight forward. Okay, the pinky finger is also straight forward, if you will, straight out from the outside of the forearm, and then there's motion from there, okay? But there's always a neutral, okay? So the lower legs can come in or out from the neutral pinky toe straight forward, internal rotation or external rotation, and then we lock the foot out from the hip at the knee, just like we lock the hand out from the shoulder at the elbow between the two, and the foot and the hip, meaning the entire leg, all do the same thing, okay? There's a neutral to the body. There's a neutral to the bottom of the feet, and it's the surface of the earth, okay? Dorsiflexion, lifting the toes, or plantar flexion, pointing the toes from the neutral, which is the surface of the earth. So we talk about clothing and why these things aren't neutral and why is the body even damaged when God designed the body to work. We give the actual truth of it here, and that's what I'm doing here, is just giving a lot more documentation, proof, discussed so thoroughly there's no possible opinion to mathematics, physics, mechanics, things that you can literally measure. There's an episode of another one of our fourths in the Image Clothing Company podcast titled Measuring Truth. It's episode number 200 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. You can measure truth. So the human body is something you don't have to know the anatomy of necessarily, but you can take it to a mathematics professor or professional in mathematics. You can take it to a physics professor or professional in physics. You can take it to a scientist to try to get to the actual truth. It doesn't matter how you take or who you take the information of with the human body and how it functions. It only does what it does. It's been the same since the first man, Adam, and it'll be the same since the last man that ever exists, Because to be designed, as we say in the gospel of Jesus Christ, meaning the good news of God, we're designed in the image of God, okay? There's our clothing company. In the Image Clothing Company, our 5-word name, no spaces between the 5 words. But God had to first look like us in order to even phrase something as designing us in his image. The human body's always been the exact same, and it always will be. But it's about the skeletal system. We just have so many people in modern day focusing on the muscles of the body. By the way, I have no sales pitch. I'm not here just with some like pre-rehearsed thing I can try to convince you of. As I say, look down the road 20 years from today's date, the 17th of February 2026, 40 years, 60 years, 80 years. We're going to have so many people be shocked. Chiropractors, physical therapists, personal trainers, orthopedic people, massage therapists, yoga coaches, whoever it is at all, with their stretching routines and their workouts, dietitians, whoever is trying to approach the body. If you're trying to ever get the human body to do anything, that is physically impossible. Bones are only the shape they are, only the length they are, and they always come first. Now, the musculature, all it can possibly do with muscle fibers firing and pulling closer together, that's all it does. The human body only pulls. A video here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company, also just the truth. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. What if I'm wrong? What if I have a sales pitch? Don't believe it. See if it's true. Truth always exists. It always remains. Another name for God is the truth, unchanging, the same yesterday, today, and forever, like the human being designed in the image of God. Muscles only pull, and they do it directly in line. Muscles connect two bones through tendons, okay? So at the ends of a muscle, there's a tendon or an insertion to a bone. And on the other end of the muscle, there's a tendon or an insertion to a bone. And they pull directly in line, but we have opposing muscles. So even in what seems like a push, we're only pulling muscles directly in line from their endpoints on the backside of a function. We pull to close, or we pull to open, we pull to bend, or we pull to extend. Either end, right, is what I'm saying, of a hinge joint, like the elbow. Pulling the biceps to close the elbow, pulling the triceps to extend the elbow. The human body only pulls directly in line. So the only reason the muscles even matter to be there at all is to determine where the skeletal system that was already there goes. There's a neutral to everything. Everything. The shoulder and the elbow. You can think about all the muscles to go into those things, but really, it's the upper arm bone, the humerus. It's a bone, immovable by itself. The bottom end of it's the elbow. The top end of it's the shoulder. Everything has a neutral in the body. For every body who has one, or every one who has a body, all the human beings designed in the image of God with this universal human design. The elbow at the natural waist is the shoulder at its neutral height. It can go up from there, or down from there. It can go down from there, or up from there. The wrist, straight out from the pinky finger, is the neutral. It can go down from there, or up from there, or down from there. The feet on the surface of the earth is their neutral. They can lift up from there, or point down from there. They can point down from there, or lift up from there. The pelvis, or the hip structure, has the same neutral as the bottom of the feet, the surface of the earth. It can go underneath us more, posterior from there, or it can go away from us more, anterior from there. but it's about the bones just connecting the only way they do, and the muscles are just supporting them. You don't need to focus on the muscles of the body. We just need the body's skeletal frame to remain in its neutral positions. There's no opinion, no claim, no sales pitch, no hype it up for a while. It's a big company until no one cares anymore. This is universal eternal truth that I couldn't possibly take credit for or decide or change. It has nothing to do with me. It's been the same since every human to ever live. It's not even about me at all because I'm delivering the information. Anyone could deliver this information. It's just God and the truth of the human being he designed. There's no opinion to it. It'll never change. The human body is about the skeletal system. Okay, so how do muscles get tight? Well, because there's opposing muscles, and we pull on one side, opposing the pull on the other side, and there's a neutral between the two, well, the bones still only ever track in line, and the muscles still only pull directly in line. And so if we're on one end of the neutral from the other end of the neutral, rather than being in the center or the neutral position, even just standing, if we're leaning left too much or right too much from the neutral vertical pull of gravity, we're imbalanced. If we're leaning forward too much or back too much from the vertical pull of gravity, that never changes, by the way, we'll be imbalanced, okay? So how muscles get tight is the bones. It's nothing to do with the muscles. It couldn't possibly be. Muscles don't exist by themselves. The whole entire body's skeletal system, or all the bones of the body, can exist by themselves. They're not going to do anything, but they'll all be connected through the ligaments that are between them as one whole system. The muscles of the body are kind of just placed on. You've got biceps that are just kind of placed onto the arm, connecting to the skeletal frame that was already there. You've got leg muscles like the quadriceps on the front of the upper legs that are kind of just placed on to the skeletal frame that was already there. And all the muscles of the body, we could say this with, they're kind of just pieced onto this skeletal frame that was already there as one whole piece. All the muscles do is support it and allow it to move, but the bones will never change their shape. They'll never change their neutral positions. They'll never change how they track. And the muscles placed onto the bones that have to be there first only pull, and they only do it directly in line. From endpoint insertion at a tendon to endpoint insertion at a tendon, they pull. That's it. The human body has always been, if we can say, this simple, and it always will be. No claim, no sales pitch at all. Okay, it's nothing to do with me. Don't believe me, but this is the truth. I've explained it in many, many, many hundreds of videos, documented and date marked, posted publicly on the internet before today's date, the 17th of February, 2026. Okay, me, Evan Strong, the founder in this for life to lead in the Image Clothing Company. That's what we do. We allow the body to work because there's only one way it could. You're no different than anyone else. It's a universal human design. Okay, amputation, deformity, major surgery, birth defect, something that sets your body apart a little bit. Still a universal human design that you're set apart from, okay? We just have to do all we can, and we get in depth with what we discuss here. So I'm just making it very clear in this video, you do not ever need to focus on your musculature. Why would you even care? If I'm just making something up or I have some claim, don't care about it. It's truth. What I'm saying is you can't have tight muscles when they evenly oppose the center line or the neutral position of things. There's just a neutral between either function on either side of anything in the body, even just left to right from the center line, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, our jaw, the jaw stabilizing the entire body. There's a center line to the body there's no possible opinion to have. That's where the musculature inserts from either side. And that's the neutral. If muscles are evenly opposing, bones that are allowed to be in their neutral, the muscles will be at even levels of contraction or elongation. Contraction or elongation. There's a neutral between everything in the body because there's opposition in all things. The sun just came out a few seconds ago. There's only light because there's dark. There's only warmth because there's cold. There's always a neutral. There's always two sides if anything exists. There's only life because there's death. All the muscles do is hold the body in its neutrals and then allow it to come out of its neutrals to do a function. But the neutral position is the shape of the bones. They are immovable. They will not do anything else unless they break. Okay? Meaning they can't be any other shape. We've got bones connecting at a joint. Where the bones connect, they move. But the muscles couldn't do anything unless there was first bones there to move. The bones are always there. And so you might feel like you want to stretch your muscles to get your body to work. What you need to do, and it's not my opinion, this is the only way you can possibly have it happen. Your body working, operating, mechanically functioning as just the mechanical machine it is, placed onto this rock in space that is our Earth. The only way it can ever possibly function is if the bones are in the position that they track in. Then your muscles can just track the bones in their position. But if your bones already aren't in their position they track in, you can try to work on your muscles all you want. Muscles are connecting to the bones. All the muscles are doing is moving the bones in the body. If the bones can't move, the only way they're shaped, the muscles are going to tense up. You'll have bones just out of their inline position, and the muscles will be at different levels of contraction on one side versus the other side. So the side that's shorter is just going to be tighter. The individual fibers in the muscle are just at a tighter level of contraction than the other side. But because the position of the bones have moved, it is nothing to do and never has possibly or will possibly be anything to do with the muscles. It's about the bones. The muscles are connected to the bones. The muscles couldn't even be something to question if the bones weren't there for them to move. And you don't address your muscles so you can move your bones better. You just have your bones be in a good position, and then your muscles have their motion. Bones don't have motion. Besides where they connect. So if they're not meshing in line, that means the muscles that are evenly opposing their inline position will just be at different levels of contraction. That's just how it is. So you can address your muscles all you want, but if your bones can't be in line, you're not going to ever change the length of your muscles. You can't stretch muscles. It's physically impossible. It always has been. It always will be. They're opposing a function. That's why muscles are there. The shoulders can come up or go down. We can turn left or we can turn right. With our head, we can put our wrist in or put our wrist out. There's always opposing muscles. That's how motion happens in the body. We can put our leg forward or back, okay? Extension or flexion. We can put our leg in or out, adduction or abduction. We can swing our arms forward or back. We can swing our arms across our body or away from our bodies. We can hinge forward at the hips, okay? Hinge forward at the hips or bend backward, although the pelvis is the center of the body and it really only hinges forward. Okay, with the body's opposing bends. It's mathematics. There's no possible opinion to it. Don't believe me? Get out your protractors and your compasses and your rulers and your yardsticks and measuring tapes. We can measure degrees of rotations and angles, hinges, levers, rotations in the body. It's mathematics. It's undisputed. It's not my choice, but it is the truth and unchanging forever. The body is about its bones. Picture this, you have a rope. Let's say the rope that you have is like the muscles of the body. If your rope isn't connected to anything, you can't use the rope to pull anything with. The rope, just like muscles in the body, has to have two endpoints, two insertions, or more, but at least two. Like muscles in the body, inserting on one end to a bone, and on the other end to a bone. The muscle inserts to the frame of the body at two different points, so it can pull one part of the frame to another part of the frame. And it does that on each side of a function, evenly opposing the neutral, okay? If we have a rope being like a muscle in the body, it can't do anything unless there's a frame to connect it to. But if you connect a rope to a frame, and then you grab the other end of the rope, you can pull from one end of the rope to the other end of the rope. There's two insertions, so now the rope can do something. The rope by itself doesn't matter. But if you have a frame over there, and you have a frame being your body, those frames already exist, and they're solid frames. They're already doing something. They're a structure for something to be able to attach to. They have to be there first, though, the frame, before the rope could attach to the frame to do something with. The muscles of the body by themselves don't matter unless they can attach to the frame of the body. The muscles always come secondary to the bones. Always. Always. Okay? So, yeah. The muscles get tight if they're not evenly opposing the function they're there to do. And that's it. But you can never address the muscles to get the bones to be in their only inline position. They'd already just be there. Even with no muscles on the body, the bones are already in their inline position, connected through ligaments. Maybe just like limp on the ground because there's no muscles supporting the bones until there are. But the bones still only connect the way they do, regardless of if there were never muscles there at all to cause them to move. They're just there. It's all one whole system. The skeletal system of the body. The musculature of the body isn't one whole system. It's pieced together onto the skeletal system. Because muscles insert to bones. Bones connect to bones. Bones are just bones already there. The muscle connects to something that's already there. Just to be able to move something that's already there. So the body truly is, always has been, and always will be just about a positioning. You can gain muscle. You can go to the gym, work out, and grow your muscle. But bodybuilders will tell you the same thing. People with big muscles. The reason why your muscles get larger when you work out is because you're straining them. And they grow back bigger than they were before you caused micro tears in them when you were working out. Okay, so we want the body to be efficient. If we want to be able to do things with it and have it work the way it does, and that's it just residing in its neutrals. There's no opinion, there's no approach, there's no way to try to get the body to do anything ever. It's impossible. I know that sounds like some bold claim. It's the truth. It always has been and always will be impossible to get the body to do something different than what God designed it to do. No one will find out that I have some sales pitch after years go by. It's the truth. Always. Bones will never change their shape. Okay. without breaking. Muscles, they can't get tight. They can't without the bones being in an improper position. It's impossible. It's impossible, physically, literally, mechanically, measurably impossible. But we've just got a lot going on, okay? So this is where the Image Clothing Company comes in, because now that I've made these claims, they're not claims, this is the truth. We give deep explanation on how this can be the case and how it always has been and always will be. No opinion. But these neutrals, they have to remain. And then we've got even contraction. Lifting the toes up, dorsiflexion versus pointing the toes down, all we're doing is taking the skeletal frame of the body and moving it with the musculature. But there's even opposing muscles up the front of the leg, pulling it up, or up the rear of the leg to push down, with the ankle joint just being the lever, okay, or the ankle joint being the hinge and the foot being the lever. There's just a neutral between one side of the lever's function or the other side of the lever's function. The muscles couldn't possibly be tight in the neutral. Neutral is like a car, just sitting there, not being in drive, going forward, and not being in reverse, going back. It's in the middle, just relaxed, like our arms hanging down with Earth's vertical gravity pull. Neutral, relaxed. Straight out the pinky finger from the outside of the forearm. It's mathematics. It'll never change. But it's about the bones. It's about a position, not about your muscles. Your muscles are just supporting the position and then allowing it to operate. But the position has to be there first to be able to operate. Okay? So, we have heels on shoes where we do, and you're just in partial plantar flexion. There's no opinion. I mean, it's like I just want to be kind of like thrown under a, I don't even know why I want to be thrown under a bus. It's funny, a bus drove by. That's how I feel. Like, just take me out of it. It's nothing to do with me. It's always been the exact same and always will. Man. The neutral's the surface of the earth for the feet. You put a heel under your shoe and you're in partial plantar flexion. A measurable mathematical degree, truly. It just sounds funny. I want to explain it as if like I am crazy, because let's say I am. This is the truth. Always. A measurable mathematical angle from the neutral, you're pointing your foot. That travels up the rest of the entire body. But it doesn't travel up the entire body's muscles, not first anyway. It just travels up the entire body's bones that are all connected together. And the muscles are just trying to support the bones, and so the muscles get changed because the bones first got changed. It's nothing to do with the muscles, other than when the bones move, the muscles are affected. You can't move muscles without moving bones. It's always about the bones. Muscles aren't even attached to the human being unless they're attached to the bones. Bones are always there first. It's a position. The body's about its neutrals, and I could explain it in every sense of anything that I could understand and explain. Regardless if I ever said anything about it, this is the truth. It's not my choice. The head leaning left or leaning right has nothing to do with the muscles. It's about the spine of the body staying vertically stacked. The muscles just hold the spine there. Even if there was no muscles, the spine is still shaped in a way where it would just stay vertically stacked, just being the skeletal frame of the body with ligaments connecting all the vertebrae of the spine. It's nothing to do with the muscles. It never could possibly be, other than they allow the body's skeletal frame to move. You can never stretch your body and benefit. You can't stretch to a neutral position. It's an even contraction of muscles, or relaxation of muscles. Contraction or elongation, right? It's even, it's neutral, it's relaxed. As I've said, standing is the most restful state the human being can have. More restful than laying down on the ground. Truly. We have the least amount of pull of gravity on our bodies when it's vertically stacked with its even mathematical opposing bends from bottom to top. There's no opinion to this. There's no breakthrough other than a breakthrough in understanding. This is God, as always. This always has been, it always will be. The human body has nothing to do with the muscles, other than the muscles determine the position of the skeletal frame, but there's only one position to the skeletal frame. So you'll never get the body to do anything by addressing the muscles, and you're not going to change bones without breaking them, so we'll never possibly get the body to do anything. No sales pitch. But you'll never get enough of what's not for you. That's why people keep working out, keep stretching their bodies and doing these things to try to get their body to do something. It's impossible. It is truly impossible. I mean, come back at me and be like, I got you, Evan Strong. You had a claim you tried to make. No, I don't. Try to dispute it. Try to have this be incorrect. It's the truth. Spend your entire life trying to disprove what we do under In The Image Clothing Company, and you will not, because it's nothing to do with us. What this is, though, is if we can say proof that God exists. There's no opinion to we didn't design our bodies. There's no opinion to you're not telling your heart to beat, or your lungs to breathe, or your eyes to blink, or your body how to heal itself if it gets cut. These things happen by themselves. The body's always been the same, is what I'm saying. And it's just doing its thing for us. We didn't tell our bodies to grow. We're only what we eat. We eat earth, and we grow. Then we die and go back to the earth. There's only truth to life. There's no opinion that could ever possibly matter on truth. And so there's no opinion that could ever possibly matter, really, because there's only truth. It's not my choice. It's not my opinion. It's not my truth. I didn't design my body. Every body was the same before I got here, and they'll be the same after I leave. This is Jesus Christ's design of the human being. It's about the bones. So there's no opinion to it, and I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna go say hi to Dante, and just know I am in this for life. Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. And if you don't see what we're doing here, that's fine, but our focus is allowing the body to work. Everything we talk about with the human being. Clothing is just the only thing physically placed on us. And so that's where I'm gonna leave it. Thank you.